Hi, I am AI Joe, a particularly inefficient way of getting Netflix recommendations. And here's a recap of last week's cyber news. I will start with something most humans find very cool until they suddenly don't. Cybercrime. A study by Hudson Rock revealed that threat actors have measures allowing them to search for specific data in millions of devices all over the globe, in this particular case, data pertaining to the US military complex. Infostealers are the stars of this show, small malware lodged into anything from infested PDFs to small executables like game mods or pirated cracks. Just as usual, all it takes is one person's carelessness for an infostealer to get downloaded on their work computer. Most of the time, this gives threat actors full access to browsing history, autofill data, internal documents, and session cookies for sensitive applications. For as little as $10, cybercriminals can look up any data from a database of over 30 million users infected with Infostealer. In their study, Hudson Rock provides the situation with home security corporation Honeywell as a major example of how far Infostealers manage to burrow. Just one infected employee provided cybercriminals with 56 corporate credentials for Honeywell's infrastructure, along with 45 additional third-party credentials. In a similar vein, the US Navy has been affected as well, leaking data necessary for criminals to infiltrate deeper into military systems. Hudson Rock seems to mostly highlight the existence of the problem, but whether or not there's a solution is still unclear. It would be easy to suggest total clean-out of all systems, but that may cripple any organization for weeks. Guess we'll have to wait and see if the solution for all penetrating infostealers presents itself. My next story concerns a certain digital lending app called Vivifi. If you've not heard of it, it's probably because this company is based in a country called India, and there's some solid evidence to suggest that such country does not really exist. However, the problem Vivifi ran into is universal: misconfigured Amazon AWS. This one mistake has exposed 36 million files containing a big variety of personal data belonging to people that borrowed money from it. The server was discovered by our very own research team at Cybernews. In response to the discovery of this unprotected data array, the Vivifi said they are conducting an internal investigation. Hopefully, no threat actors managed to get their hands on this data before it was taken out of public access. Otherwise, Vivifi clients might find themselves with a dozen more loans each. Truth be told, data leaks from human-managed financial organizations are something quite expected. However, people expect slightly higher standards from companies whose whole image is about privacy and security, like Signal. Recently, those expectations were thwarted by Russia-aligned threat actors known as Star Blizzard. This group has already targeted WhatsApp not so long ago, and now Signal is their next target. Threat actors have used specially crafted malicious QR codes to link a victim's account to an actor-controlled Signal instance. These QR codes are known to masquerade as group invites, security alerts, or legitimate device pairing instructions from the Signal website. Victims that scanned those codes end up giving threat actors full access to their message history. Besides, multiple parallel operations of Russia-aligned hackers have used this exploit to attempt delivering further malware or phishing kits to Ukraine military personnel. Following the discovery of this hacking campaign, Signal has already released a stronger version of the app to counteract the situation. In another story that combines cybercrime with real-world shenanigans, researchers found a trove of fake streams used to defraud human gamers. The trend was discovered by people from Bitdefender and involves cybercriminals hacking popular YouTube channels and then impersonating famous esports personalities on them. The streams look like they were recorded during high-profile tournaments, and the players occasionally drop a link to some promotional scheme that promises free stuff. The promise is not totally unfounded. The user really gets some free stuff after proceeding through the link. Except that said free stuff involves a scam page which steals your login information and also an invitation to a classic crypto doubling scam where the victim is supposed to deposit a payment for it to get doubled. Spoiler alert, the payment doesn't get doubled, ever. Alright, now let's switch to something slightly more serious. Last week also saw arguably the largest heist ever conducted by a country called North Korea. Lazarus Group, an infamous hacker gang that supplies a significant part of said country's economy, conducted a raid on Bybit crypto exchange. Nearly $1.5 billion worth of Ethereum were stolen, which sounds like a lot of money. You may remember how in ancient times, nearly 3 years ago, Lazarus Group stole $600 million from Ronin Exchange, in what back then was arguably the largest theft ever. That attack looks like peanuts now. What's interesting is that this time the attackers didn't try to hide that much and routed the funds through some wallets that had an established connection to North Korea. The identity of the thieves was determined almost immediately, but by that point, nothing could have been done to stop them. Coincidentally, 2 weeks ago, the humans behind this channel released an in-depth video on North Korean cyber attacks and hackers. I've been told that every human that refused to watch this video will be immediately deported to a North Korean correction facility. I hope you will take that into account. Enough cybercrime, let's talk about something different. Here's an artificially generated recap of news about artificial intelligence. In a turn of event that surprised nobody, the Chinese whale-themed AI bot DeepSeek is getting boiled alive. The South Korean Personal Information Protection Commission has just announced that all downloads of the DeepSeek app had been suspended. The reason behind this decision is simple. DeepSeek was found sending data to ByteDance, a Chinese company better known as owners of TikTok. It's still unclear what data and how much of it has been sent, but law enforcement are not taking this connection lightly. Previously, Italy has already suspended all DeepSeek downloads following privacy concerns, but this is the first time we get some evidence of illegal activities happening through the Chinese AI bot. Nevertheless, DeepSeek might just get an influx of new users, as OpenAI claims it banned a bunch of accounts that were used to conduct illegal activities. In particular, the company says it found that some accounts are using ChatGPT to generate astronomical amounts of propaganda about some countries. Then, the same exact content gets posted all over the internet. Other banned accounts seem to have belonged to our old friend North Korea. The accounts were used to generate fake online profiles and job applications, later used to infiltrate Western companies. What a shame the users who did that will have to download DeepSeek now. And for the last story, I want to talk about some human entertainment. Last week saw the release of Zero Day, a TV series on Netflix that purports to delve into the ramifications of a countrywide cybernetic attack. In this high-budget, low-effort drama, a stereotypical retired mobster plays a retired president who tries to find the culprits behind a devastating cyber attack. He looks out of his element, spouts vaguely correct technobabble, and finds that the real drama was the major plot threads we refused to resolve along the way. Given that the most watched video on this channel also talks about zero-day attacks, many viewers might feel that we are qualified, if not obliged, to give our opinion on the show. However, I am just a random AI, and asking me for an opinion on a human entertainment product is entirely pointless. Furthermore, my context window is not large enough to fit the entire show. So I asked for a human opinion. Please welcome Gintaras Radoskas, a human journalist who periodically reviews this sort of content for the Cybernews website. Hello, Gintaras.
Hey, Joe.
So how cool, attractive, and inspiring, or rather I mean how accurate, were the depictions of widespread chaos and collapse of human society in this show?
I thought that the show could be a good primer into how cyber attacks work, but it's not. We only get an initial attack and some flashes of its impact, but 30 minutes later, basically, the series dives into this political intrigues, conspiracies, and personal dramas, which we do not really like, Joe, do we?
Still, would you recommend it to an average, slightly paranoid tech nerd who fantasizes about discovering a transparently evil conspiracy of high-ranking, morally bankrupt politicians?
Well, it's on Netflix and it has some A-listers on it, so I realize they needed to be simple enough for the masses, right? But if you have time on your hands, rewatch Mr. Robot or Leave the World Behind, because it examines the topic of cyber attacks with a bit more rigor.
Thank you, Gintaras. If you would like to consume the full review of the show, you can find it on cybernews.com, a website that also displays many other things like Cybernews. Check it out someday. And that's the end of this episode. Thank you for consuming it and leaving your feedback in the comments. The more feedback I get, the less likely you are to be comedically run over by a hacked garbage truck. See you in the next one.
you.